One of the ways I like to think about spirituality and spiritual development is the study of breathing. Because when we live a more personally, spiritually aligned life, whatever that means to you, we recognize that flow of breathing in and breathing out with the cycles of life and ourselves. We have been convinced to be locked in a cycle of produce, work, and be busy, and consume, anesthetize, and release. Something that is missing from the breathing cycle in this process is the space between the breaths. Because the space between the breaths are where the magic happens. So those moments of contemplation, those moments of observation, the moments where we see how things are. Now, if we think that the world is alive, for example, just stay with me for a moment. If the world is alive and it has its own consciousness, it has its own breathing cycle as well. And when we recognize where the world or life breathes out, we can then breathe in, and then we have that moment of reflection, and then we synthesize, we alchemize, and then we breathe out, we express. We get into this more harmonious relationship of things. And when it comes down to it, if we're interested in, the manifestation and all of these other kind of bits and pieces on how we can work from a spiritual perspective to improve our human experience, the most fundamental thing after doing your emotional work and building that solid foundation of emotional awareness, regulation, and mastery is looking at how the breathing cycle, metaphorically, is something that you can lock in with. Because the opportunities for change and development, growth and expansion, we can always see them in the space between the breaths. Whereas if we're living like this, continually trying to produce, continually trying to output, obsessed with impact, all of these things, we aren't allowing ourselves to zoom out and take a look at things from a distance. Because the more we become certain in ourselves, the more we have this awareness of the breath cycle, the more we can zoom out from the immediate situation and the more peace we can find with things.